Do you need lots of donuts for your project? Or are you just a bit lazy? If that's the case, don't use this donut, use this one. Okay, so welcome back to the channel, everyone. Hope everyone's well, everyone's happy, getting ready for Easter with your chocolate eggs. Fantastic. Okay, so today's tutorial is more about shaders, so you don't need the most recent version of Blender for this. Anything version 2 onwards should be okay. Currently rocking 3.5, which is all very good, yay. A lot of features, a lot of options in it. Have found it a bit of a pain to set up, though. It's not running quite as nice as I would with older models. Probably more user error, but yeah, just a quick headache. So today, actually before we kick off, if YouTube doesn't seem to like me very much, or doesn't seem to like my videos, and what it likes to do is down resolution the video. So if you're struggling to read the text, it's the resolution in your YouTube settings. So go to settings, turn it up to the highest quality, and you should be able to see text a bit more clearer. Okay, so we go straight into this, and we're going to get rid of the default cube, and we're going to replace it with a torus. Fans of the channel, I don't know if there are fans of the channel, but fans of the channel will know that I don't like deleting the default cube. So let's change this minor radius to 15 centimeters, make it a bit more donutty in size, and there we go. Let's crank that down. That's nice and juicy. There we go. Yeah, a bit higher. Go on, a bit. Too high. Too high, too high. Back off. There you go. You know what? Let's look it up. Now we want to crank up the resolution, not to mega high values, just until it's kind of squarey. So that's looking pretty good. And we're going to go in and immediately add a subdivision modifier. And this just makes more sense later on. Let's crank these up to 3. It's all looking good. And just do a shade smooth as well on top of that. So you go, you donut. Congratulations. That's the end of the tutorial. And we'll see you next time. Obviously, I'm kidding. Don't go anywhere. Let's go to the shader tab and we zoom in. Now, the thing with Andy Price's donut tutorial is that he gives a very good overview of the settings in Blender, of the tools, and he uses many parts, many bits and pieces and particles and settings to make a beautiful donut. We're not doing that today. We're doing a very dirty version of this. Obviously, if you've not seen Andy Price's videos, then what are you doing here? Go to it after you've seen this video, of course. And after you've liked and subscribed this video, feel free to go to Andy Price and see how this should be done. But today we're just doing this very, very quickly and very, very dirty. So the first thing we want to do is we want to split this and tell this donut which bit is icing and which bit is regular donut. Now, to achieve that, we want a gradient node. We're going to plant that gradient node straight into our surface. And just make sure in preferences you have add-ons and node wrangler switched on. There you go. Make sure that's switched on. And when you do that, you can go Control-T and just set this to object. Now this should split it kind of in the middle. That's looking pretty good. We want to do two things. First of all, we want a sharp edge. So would make for a very interesting donut, that really, wouldn't it? Now to give it a sharp edge, put your color ramp between and just turn it to constant, and then drag this back. I can play with this in a minute. And obviously we want the donut to be split kind of the other way as opposed to through it, so we want to change that Y value to 90. There we go. Now sometimes it can be a bit of a pain, this, so let's just dial 0.1. Yeah, we don't need it quite that high, not 0.5. No, too high. Not 5. There we go. And let's just move this back to about halfway. Sometimes these settings do take a little bit of time just to get right. Now, obviously, icing doesn't splodge out quite as nicely as that. So we want a noise texture in there. And let's move this over here. Object to vector. Set this to 4D now, and the reason for that is this particular way of doing donuts we can manipulate. So we set the settings first, then you can change W, and you can have any number of donut configurations you like out of it. So we're going to plug into no, we don't. We want to go into color. We want to plan that one there, so it's between the gradient and the mapping node, and we're going to plant the color into this lower socket here. Give that a second to catch up. Actually, I think it has caught up. Let's move that up to here. Yeah, it's been a bit of a pain. And we want to up the noise, down the detail, so we will have a nice kind of curve to it. Up that value, and then let's move this 0.01. Sometimes it's easier just to type it in. It's 0.025. There we go. And then let's just manipulate this a little bit more. Crank that up. There we go. And just play around with these settings until you're happy with them. In fact, I could do with dialing that back a bit. There you go. That's more like it. Right. Okay. So that's not too bad. And of course, because this is procedural, when you've completed all the other parts, you can change this to your art's content. So this is the engine that dictates which is icing and which is donut. So let's move this over here, disconnect it for the time being, and let's put an actual the donutty part in. So we want a principal BDF. I'm going to assign that to here for the time being, just for us to do our testing. And what we want to do, obviously it's not constant color throughout, so we want a nice color ramp into here. And we're just going to spend a moment just setting ourselves up. We want a gradient. We're going to plant the gradient into here. And we want Control T again. Switch to Object. 90 degree it. And let's just play with this a little bit. So let's move that across to there, that across to there. And we want to add another one of these tabs. Just hit the add button, drop that down. We're just getting an idea as to where things are. In fact, I have found a math node between your texture and your color ramp. Add a power to it. Here we go. I've got a bit more control now. Let's move that over a bit here. Move that to there. And we want to move this down to, okay, 0.025 again. Let's just make sure we're doing this right. There we go. Define color ramps sometimes are a bit of a pain to use. I don't know if anyone else has that problem, but I frequently have problems with color ramps. Yeah, you don't want that quite like that. Okay, now let's go into a quick cheat mode, and I'm going to use colors I have already developed, because you could be here for a while playing around with colors. So the color we're using is ED8DOD. Hit the enter button, and for the middle we want a slightly lighter one using my cheat sheet. So copy that, come across to here, and there we go. Let's just bring that down. It's kind of a bit edgy there, I'm not keen on that. B-spline. There we go. Let's not spend too much time otherwise. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so obviously spend a bit of time just setting that up, making it a bit more how you want it to look. Let's just put that onto there as well. Actually, let's put that colour onto there. Right, so, and let's just drag these back. There we go. Put that to about there. Yeah, again, spend as long as you like there. So that's your kind of vaguely part of the donut done in terms of color, but we want to give it a bit of bounce, a bit of bump. So we go for a bump node, including the name, and we're going to plant that one straight into normal. Now we don't want to do that. Why have you done that? Musgrave texture, and I want to plant the Musgrave texture height into height, and again let's do a Control T and switch that to object. There we go. And what we want to do now is up that scale. So you might need quite a high number, give it a nice kind of bouncy imperfection. So let's make it 500, and you want to downgrade the strength as well. So there you go. There you go. It's not looking too bad. Not keen on that lower bit. I don't know what's going on there. That's been a bit of a pain. Is it because I've got the power switched on? Let's just take a second. Let's just see if we can sort this out. There we go, starting to look a bit more. Stretch that along a little bit, and in, okay. And we might want to just nudge that up ever so slightly. I'll spend too long on this. Such a pain. Settings. Okay, that's probably about as good as we're going to get it for this short tutorial. So let's move this over here. So that's your donut segment. Of course, you can play around with that to your heart's content. And now what we want is a bit of icing. Get out of my way. Go over there. So let's go principled for icing bit now, and we're going to plant that one into your material output. There are better ways of doing this. I just do it because I'm lazy. Now, what we want to do is let's zoom in so you can actually see what we're doing, and we switch that to kind of this pinky colour. You can again have it any colour you like. We have a bump node. What we want to do is just add a bit of texture to this. So we're going to put our bump node in here, and we're going to add a little bit of noise. So it is a noise, plant that noise into the height, Control T. It's not so important at this point to use Control T, but it's not a bad idea to have it. And let's put a color ramp in the middle. Bit more control, smooth that out a bit. That's almost too much, so let's go to B-spline. There we go. And you want to downgrade the strength, so just like that. And what we want to do is, I quite like it. You can have it really kind of rough, or I quite like it having a bit of sharpness to it, so it's quite shiny. So that is your absolute basic icing, and you could call that it from there. But what we're going to do is we're going to add some very simple cheat sprinkles. So again, we want another principled BD. Yeah, principled helps if I can learn to spell. It's a good start. And I want to plant that into here. Zoom in. And now what we want to do is we want a Voronoi texture. Plant a Voronoi texture color into the base color. Again, Control T. I always set it to Voronoi. Sorry, I always set it to object. Yeah, let's check that. So we want to crank this up. See what we're doing there. If you make it sufficiently high, these become small, and it's not so much. It's actually quite difficult to see that they are just texture bits. If you make them small enough, they become like sprinkles. So again, this is a cheat. Instead of using Andy Price's method of using particles or a geometry node approach to it, we're just adding a shader node. So we want a color ramp because we want to vary these colors. Okay, and let's set this to constant. move that up to there, that one up to here. And let's just play with some of these colours straight away. Let's put them into there like that. And let's make this one red as well. So you can see how you can add more colours and make red. In fact, you know what? Let's leave that as is. That's all very well and good. Let's add a bit of bump to them so they look like they're sticking out. So bump node into the normal. And we want to add that into the height. There you go. So it kind of gives it that kind of 3D look about it. Now, obviously, we want to tell it where to put these sprinkles. So to do that, we want a mix shader. We want the mix shader, not the mix node, just the mix shader. There we go. Mix shader's there. And we're going to plant into here. We're going to plant our icing into this one. And obviously now we need to tell it where to put stuff. So to do that, we want a color ramp in the middle. And we're going to use this same node here. So it's a nice sharp edge into the factor. And I'm going to set that to constant. And when you bleed that back, here we go. Start. And this is where you can start to change things a little bit. So they're all set to yellow. Let's make some of these red and that and that. We have to pull these all the way across. There we go. Let's just crank that number up even higher. Let's make it 500. Let's just go big. You can see that little sprinkles inside your icing. So now we've done that, we want to move our material node up here, and we want to blend together these two controls. So again, it is a mix shader. Plant that into here. We're going to plant that one into there. Actually, I want to do it that way around. Previous versions used to do it that way. See what I did wrong there? I've actually grabbed the control, so let's get rid of that one. Go away. There we go. We want to, let's move all these things back into some things a bit more manageable. So that's our control up there. They can move down a little bit. And let's put our donut right in the middle. Let's put that into that upper socket there. And now we need to tell it, we want that upper part to be icing and the lower part to be donut. So let's put you into here. Let it catch up for a second. We'll do a little bit of on-hold music from now on, I think. There we go. So that's not looking too bad at all. Obviously, we can play around with these shaders a little bit. Move that to about there, maybe. And of course, this is just using a standard donut shape. So by all means, go in and help us actually see it. Go in and by all means start manipulating this using the sculpting tools. There are lots of options there. So just one more bit to do in this tutorial. You can see there that it's all very edgy, and you can get away with that if this is in the background. But let's say you want to make it a bit more three-dimensional. You can go to this button here, and it's, where's my settings? Where's my settings gone? It's because we're in cycles. Okay, so let's change that into GPU. Leave that supported. Go back into here now. That's should. There we go. Bump and displacement. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a displacement node. I'm going to put it into this socket down here. This is where it starts to go a bit crazy. And we want a noise texture. Okay. A noise texture would be nice if it actually produces one. And we're going to plant this noise texture factor into the height.
A few moments later.
Okay, so just a couple of technical issues there. I was talking away and suddenly my computer stopped working. So let's just try and pick up where we left off. So we've got a donut here, all nicely recovered. And what we're going to do now is add a little bit of displacement. So to do that, you need this displacement node here. You need this noise texture, mapping, and texture coordinate. And what to do, obviously, is we want to rig it so that only the icing comes up. So we go for a mix node, and we want to set that to vector. When we do that, we should be able to plant this one, this socket into here, that socket into there. And then finally, we want to tell it we just want this icing. To work. So let's zoom in and just play around with some of our settings. If I increase that. Actually, we've done it the wrong way around. You can see that the bottom of the icing is moving. So we actually want it the other way around. We want the icing at the top. 0.3 is obviously too high. So it's it's freezer. Freeze, massive. Okay. There you go. And just make that nice and small. And what it does, it just gives you that nice little lip there. And of course, we start manipulating. Oh god, that's horrible. Look at that. Minus 0.001. 1. Minus 0.002. At these sizes, it really does have a bit of an impact. You can see that it's going quite crazy. So yeah. Minus, oops. Let's do that again. Minus 0.03. That's too much. Minus 0.01. In fact, you want to blend that back just a little bit more. Minus 0.005. There we go. So there you go. And this is kind of the benefit of having that subdivision modifier in place. The more subdivisions you have, the better it looks. So obviously we've done that now, and yeah, that's not looking too bad. Don't know what else doing over there, but that is essentially your cheap and cheerful donut. Let's just look at what we've done here. So it's all contained within these, and of course, if you want to create more than one, you can change these. In fact, let's change that to 4D as well, and that just means I can zoom this in. Change that. So you can copy that, duplicate the material. In fact, let's do that now. Shift D. Let's have one over here. Seems to have gone a bit low. G, Z. Yay, up you go. And what you could do is you can copy that. So that applies to that one there. And within a second or so, change that. You could change every aspect of this donut. Put that to Musgrave. Yeah, we should really set that to 4D as well. And it can all just be that little bit different. There we go. So there you go. Okay, so very quickly, you've got two donuts there. Completely varied. They're not identical, other than colours, which of course you can vary yourselves. And yeah, you just keep duplicating and duplicating and duplicating, and each one of them can be slightly different. So that tutorial's run on a little bit longer than I hoped for. Sorry about the technical problems there in a minute. I hope we didn't lose too much. And yeah, that's pretty much it. As I say, this is quick, simple, dirty donuts. If you've not seen Andy Price's tutorial, go and watch it now. But please do, if you got this far, congratulations, you're awesome. Please do subscribe and like if indeed you did enjoy this video, despite its technical issues. Then please do like and subscribe. Thank you very much, and until next time, enjoy Easter. Cheers, bye-bye.